So I mean, we already know what all happened during this invasion of Venezuela done by the Trump administration. They went in, they grabbed Nicolas Maduro, and then they left. And currently, you have all the apparatchiks and morons essentially trying to bend over backwards to come up with anything possible in order to just justify the actions of the United States of America, because there's basically no basis whatsoever to justify what they did. They went in, just grabbed Nicolas Maduro, and then they just fucking left. Illegally, mind you. No congressional approval, which the only thing that's the Democrats are complaining about, instead of coming up with a more effective pushback, say, potentially impeaching Trump for this, but whatever. Because in reality, the Democrats actually support this shit, but I digress. You're not going to see any effective pushback from the Democrats specifically. Should be expected. And of course, we have the current apparatchiks of the state either threatening more regions to attack, because of course Trump, like a mad king with a dying empire, you might as well just do forceful coercion of your neighbors. For what purpose exactly? Dying empire shit. Might as well just start attacking people, try to secure some form of a legacy, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Pax Americana bullshit, despite the fact that, all the, stupid fascists within the, Trump administration coalition, they talk about wanting to, conquer all these territories with all these fucking, brown people that they want to deport from the country, but they want to take over their territory as well. It's nonsensical. But Marco Rubio, what do you got for me, buddy?
Joining me now is Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Secretary Rubio, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I want to start with this big picture question. Is the United States now at war with Venezuela?
There's not a war. I mean, we are at war against drug trafficking organizations, not a war against Venezuela. We are enforcing American laws with regards to oil sanctions. We have sanctioned entities. We go to court. We get a warrant. We seize those boats.
Yeah, that's not how that fucking works. I highly doubt they even went for the courts for any of these fucking sanctions. This bullshit. Dude, you invaded, boots on the fucking ground, and kidnapped the fucking sovereign leader. Okay, bro. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Yeah, sure. Is Nicolas Maduro the legitimate leader of Venezuela? There's an investigation still ongoing with there. So, technically speaking, no, he's not the legitimate leader of Venezuela. He more than likely cheated in his elections, more than likely. But that doesn't mean you just go in there based off of trumped up charges that you made up with the DOJ and just fucking grab him from the country. That's incredibly ridiculous.
And that will continue. We would continue to reserve the right to take strikes against drug boats that are bringing drugs towards the United States that are being operated by transnational criminal organizations, including the Cartel de los Sols. Of course, the leader of that cartel is now in U.S. custody and facing U.S. justice in the southern.
Again, no evidence to suggest that those alleged drug boats, are even have drugs on them. The administration has provided no evidence for this.
District of New York, and that's Nicolas Maduro. So we made a big progress in that regard.
Mr. Secretary, who is in charge? Are you running Venezuela right now?
Yeah, I mean, I keep people fixating on that. Here's the bottom line on it is we expect to see changes in Venezuela. Changes of all kinds, long-term, short-term. We'd love to see all kinds of changes. But the most immediate changes are the ones that are in the national interest of the United States. That's why we're involved here, because of how it applies and has a direct impact on the United States. Okay, we are not going to be able to allow in our hemisphere.
So the current interim president right now is Maduro's vice president. Trump just kind of randomly said that he's going to put in Maria Corina Machado in a place of power. How is he going to do that exactly? That ultimately, it's another question. Is he going to kidnap the vice president now or something? I have no fucking idea. Currently, she's still living in exile somewhere. I think within Venezuela, or she left the country. Probably the United States. And it's one of those situations. It's what? Well, hold on. How exactly are you going to put her into the seat of power? Even though Trump himself also mentioned how she's unlikable and that she's going to have a really tough job ahead of her because nobody really likes her all that much. How is this going to be maintained? Like, when I say that this shit is like completely fucking cooked, and I mean it's totally fucking cooked. This shit's not gonna go anywhere. It's just going to fall apart after like 6 months. With like in Bolivia with Janine Áñez, that shit lasted like no longer than a fucking year, and it ended up fucking collapsing in on itself. It's such a shit show, dude.
A country that becomes a crossroads for the activities of all of our adversaries around the world. We just can't allow it. We can't have a country where the people in charge of its military and in charge of its police department are openly cooperating with drug trafficking organizations. We're not going to allow that. These things are direct threats to the United States, and we intend to
zero evidence for this
to ensure that changes. The one I would point everyone to is that our military is helping the Coast Guard conduct a law enforcement function, which is not just the capture of Maduro, but the enforcement of our sanctions. We go to court, we get a warrant, we seize the boats, and we think this is tremendous leverage, incredible, crippling leverage, which we intend to continue to use until we see the changes that we need to see that are benefit to the American people. And by the way, we believe to the people of Venezuela as well.
But Mr. Secretary, I think there's a lot of questions about who the point people are during this transition. President Trump said we're going to run the country. So is it you, Mr. Secretary Hegseth? Who are those people who will be running the country specifically?
Well, it's not running, it's running policy. The policy with regard to this, we want Venezuela to move in a certain direction because not only do we think it's good for the people of Venezuela, it's in our national interest. It either touches on something that's a threat to our national security or touches on something that's either beneficial or harmful.
And are you involved in that transition,
so obviously
Secretary?
I'm very involved in this.
Yo, we love the fact that there's been no mention of what the Venezuelans want exactly. Besides, I don't know, like Trump supporters pointing to a bunch of Venezuelans that are currently not living in Venezuela. Yeah, sure, dude. I'm sure that Venezuelans within Venezuela really want to have like American business interests and like the oil companies and Trump running their fucking goddamn country. I'm sure that they really, really wanted that to happen when Nicolas Maduro just got randomly fucking kidnapped.
Well, of course, I mean, I think everyone knows I'm pretty involved on politics in this hemisphere. Obviously, Secretary of State and National Security Advisor are very involved in all these elements. The Department of War plays a very important role here, along with the Department of Justice, for example, because they've got the
so far nothing has changed.
Security apparatus of our country, but it is running this policy, and the goal of the policy is to see changes in Venezuela that are beneficial to the United States first and foremost, because that's who we work for, but also we believe beneficial for the people of Venezuela who have suffered tremendously. We want a better future for Venezuela, and we think a better future for the people of Venezuela also is stabilizing for the region and makes the neighborhood we live in a much better and safer place.
By the way, this is all the exact same fucking propaganda during Iraq. The Iraqi people within Iraq, in Baghdad, also were celebrating the deposition of Saddam Hussein, right? I've said this before, but history is a funny thing. It doesn't always repeat itself, but it likes to rhyme. Were there a bunch of Venezuelans probably celebrating within the streets of Caracas? Probably, right? A lot of people don't really like Nicolas Maduro, right? However, within about a year or two, they're more than likely going to change their tune rather fucking quickly when the puppet government that the United States decides to implements austerity measures, thus worsening their material conditions even further. Because again, quick reminder, the only reason why Venezuela was in such economically dire straits was because of the sanctions the United States placed on them, making everything significantly more expensive and worse in there. I've heard, not sure that there isn't much celebration because the Chavistas are still in charge. Nothing changed on the ground. Oh, so nothing's fucking happening, and they're just going to probably try to... There's definitely going to be another attack then at this point, and then Alex, if nothing's really changed on the fucking ground. Because we all know the vice president's currently in charge right now, right? She's currently in charge. I think she's like doing a press conference right now, saying like, yeah, we're going to fight and resist against the United States' attempted occupation here. Because Trump has made it clear himself that he wants to do occupation of the fucking country. It's literally just the entire same fucking bullshit. Vice President seems to be cooperating. Yeah, sure. Cooperating. Whatever that means. Like, we all know they're just going to go in, try to occupy the country, and force a bunch of oil companies in order to start extracting. Trump himself made it clear with a lot of the fucking press conferences. We're going to get to this gaggle here he has on Air Force One, but he's like, again, reiterating the same position that, oh, this is great, perfect military operation, and also, like, it's so good, it's so great, we're going to have all the American oil companies go in and start basically extracting resources from Venezuela, because that's what this was all about to begin with. It was just about resource extraction.
President Trump said the administration is working with Maduro's Vice President, Delcy Rodriguez. Why does the administration oppose working with the opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado? She's a Nobel Peace Prize winner, of course, as well. Her coalition has the support of 70% of Venezuelans. Why not work with her?
Well, a couple things. First of all, Maria Corina Machado is fantastic, and she's someone I've known for a very long time, and she's the whole movement. But we are dealing with the immediate reality. The immediate reality is that, unfortunately, and sadly, but unfortunately, the vast majority of the opposition is no longer present inside of Venezuela. We have short-term things that have to be addressed right away. We all wish to see a bright future for Venezuela, transition to democracy. All these things are great, and we all want to see that. I've worked on that for 15 years on a personal level, both in the Senate and now as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State. These are things I still care about. We still care about. But what we're talking about is what happens over the next 2-3 weeks, 2-3 months, and how that ties to the national interest of the United States. And so we expect to see more compliance and cooperation than we were previously receiving. With Nicolas Maduro, you could not make a deal or an arrangement. Although he, by the way, was given very generous offers. He could have left Venezuela as recently as a week and a half.
There's so much fucking contradiction that's essentially being said here by fucking Marco Rubio. Really, Nicolas Maduro was given generous deals, but then he didn't accept any of them. Like, okay, bro, nice meme. The opposition is supposed to won about 70% of the vote within Venezuela, but Nicolas Maduro maintained power, but you're not willing to work with the leader of the opposition party, who is, by the way, not Maria Corina Machado, but was someone else. I don't know if that dude got deposed or something, but most of them aren't even in the country to begin with, because they were planning to orchestrate a coup or something, but whatever. So they got kicked out of the country as a result, after Nicolas Maduro cheated on his elections in order to stay in power. Again, it's a complete fucking shit show. It's nothing but a bunch of fucking contradictions. Why work with the vice president of the party that's going to be inherently hostile to you, but then you didn't want to negotiate with Nicolas Maduro, even though he said he wants to negotiate, but you offer a bunch of good deals, but then you just decide not to follow through with it? Like what exactly is going on here? It's nonsensical. He's just saying a bunch of words right now.
Ago. There are opportunities available for him to avoid all of this because now he's not someone we can work with. He suckered the Biden administration into stupid deals. He's made a career out of not keeping deals and figuring out how to save himself by buying time. And we were not.
I don't know how many times this has to be fucking said, but your coup attempt by your fucking president was what ended up having having to have a bunch of fucking hostage deals made. It's so stupid, dude.
Was not going to fall into that trap. So now there are other people in charge of the military and police apparatus there. They're going to have to decide now.
I believe that as well.
A different direction than the one Nicolas Maduro picked. Ultimately, we hope this leads to a holistic transition all the way around in Venezuela, societal, political, all of that. We're in favor of all of that. But right now, we have to take the first steps, and the first steps are securing what's in the national interest of the United States and also beneficial to the people of Venezuela. And those are the things that we're focused on right now. No more drug trafficking. No more Iran Hezbollah presence there, and no more using the oil industry to enrich all our adversaries at the
moment. Yeah, bro.
Benefiting the people of Venezuela.
Yeah, bro. Hezbollah's totally in fucking Venezuela, man. Why are you gonna say that Hamas dug some fucking tunnels? It's stupid. Again, no, this is one for one the same shit they said with Iraq. I've mentioned this before, but there's a really, really good not John Oliver, but Jon Stewart segment basically talking about all of the fucking propaganda that not only this motherfucker employs, but all of these like conservative dumbasses in the Republican Party employed, pretty much doing eerily similar comparisons to that of, propaganda used to justify the invasion of Iraq, as well as what they just did within Venezuela. It's the same fucking shit. It's Iraq 3 Electric Boogaloo.
Well, or frankly, benefiting the United States and the region.
You talk about a holistic
That's
approach.
true,
I think
Alex.
there's a lot of focus on potential elections. How soon will elections be held? Within 30 days, Mr. Secretary?
Elections? Well, look, this is a country that's been governed by this regime now for 14 or 15 years. The elections should have happened a long time ago. The elections did happen. They lost them, and they didn't count the votes, or they refused to count the votes, and everyone knows it. So all of that, I think, is premature at this point. There's a lot of work to be done here. Right now, what we are focused in, let's be realistic here. What we are focused on right now...
He's not going to answer that question because they want to do the occupation of the country to get the oil.
Of the problems we had when Maduro was there, we still have those problems in terms of them needing to be addressed. We are going to give people an opportunity to address those challenges and those problems. Until they address it, they will continue to face this oil quarantine. They will continue to face pressure from the United States. We will continue to target drug boats that they try to run towards the United States. We will continue to seize the boats that are sanctioned with court orders. We will continue to do that and potentially other things until the things we need to see addressed are addressed. Because ultimately, above everything else we care about, elections we care about, democracy we care about, all of that. But the number one thing we care about is the safety, security, well-being, and prosperity of the United States. And that's what we're going to focus on first and foremost here. And that's what these policies, these changes we need to see made are about.
Okay, significant there. You say you will...
Man, we're going to focus on the prosperity of the United States of America by going into another country, stealing their resource from them. There's a really good Sky News segment talking about how this is all about Venezuelan crude oil, because again, Venezuelan crude oil is heavy crude. There's multiple kinds of crude oil. Heavy, medium, and light. The U.S. produces a lot of light crude oil, but they don't necessarily have as many facilities to be able to process that. Most of the facilities they do have are for the processing of heavy crude oil. And as a result, most of the oil that the United States imports into the country tends to be that of heavy fucking crude oil. Venezuela is said to have the largest reserves of oil on the fucking planet, with the vast majority of it being heavy crude. That's why they're doing the invasion.
Continue to seize boats when necessary. I want to ask you about boots on the ground. A lot of attention on that. The president was asked about the possibility of U.S. boots on the ground. He said, quote, "We're not afraid of it." How many U.S. forces are on the ground right now
Yes,
in
more
Venezuela?
than the U.S.
Are there any?
We don't have U.S. forces on the ground in Venezuela. No, we don't have U.S. forces on the ground. Everyone knows. They were on the ground for about 2 hours when they went to capture Maduro. And I think what the president is saying is very simple, and that is, as president of the United States, he is not going to go around telling people what he's not going to do. He's not going to go around saying, "I won't do this, I won't do that. Yes, I care about this issue, but I'll only go so far." He retains all this optionality. In the particular case you're citing, this was, in essence, at its core, a law enforcement function. Okay, the Department of Justice, dating back in the Biden administration, had a $25 million reward for his capture.
I don't know how many times this has to be said. There's just no basis for the fucking charges on there. And I assume also same with the fucking Biden administration. No basis for any of the charges on fucking Venice. On Nicolas Maduro, though maybe it was more so for election fraud or something. It's like, okay, well then with Joe Biden, there's probably a little bit something more to that there. But again, what the Trump administration with its $50 million bounty, and also what also is basically being said, not being said, but basically being charged with like drug trafficking and gun charges or something from like some law in 1934. It's nonsensical. It's not fucking going anywhere. Our oil, Alex, is also heavy crude. The vast majority of it is heavy crude from the tar sands.
So we have a reward for his capture, but we're not going to enforce it. That's the difference between President Trump and everybody else. It's easy to make a wanted poster and say $50 million for the capture of Maduro, but no one takes that seriously because you're not going to do anything about it. President Trump did something about it.
Let me ask
He did something about it. We went in, we grabbed him, he was arrested, and he's now in New York. No Americans were killed, no equipment was lost. It had to be done, and it's been done. And I assure you, the people left behind in Venezuela now that are in charge of the police and everything else, I assure you, they're going to probably be a lot more compliant than Maduro was as a result of this.
Well, President Trump told the New York Post there won't be troops in Venezuela as long as Delcy Rodriguez, quote, "does what we want." She's already, though, demanding the release of Nicolas Maduro. As you know, she's insisting that her country never become a colony. What exactly does Rodriguez need to do to keep U.S. troops out of Venezuela?
Well, forget about the U.S. troops portion of it. What needs to happen for any of this to change, for our relations with Venezuela to change and our whole approach to it to change, the things we have talked about are the ones I've highlighted already. You can't flood this country with gang members. You can't flood this country with drugs that are coming out of Colombia through Venezuela with the cooperation of elements of your security forces. You can't turn Venezuela into the operating hub for Iran, for Russia, for Hezbollah, for China, for the Cuban intelligence agents that control that country. That cannot continue. Those things cannot continue to be in place.
Again, just complete schizo nonsense. Literally no fucking evidence to say that this is the case.
Cannot continue to have the largest oil reserves in the world under the control of adversaries of the United States, not benefiting the people of Venezuela and stolen by a handful of oligarchs around the world, including inside of Venezuela, but not benefiting the people of that country. We've seen how our adversaries all over the world.
I can't believe that Venezuela is using its oil wealth to pay off its debts to fucking China and is not using that to be indebted to our oligarchs instead. What the fuck, man?
Are exploiting and extracting resources from Africa, from every other country. They're not going to do it in the Western Hemisphere. That is not going to happen under President Trump. Read our national security strategy. He is serious about it, and he's going to do something about it, and we're doing something about it.
Let me ask you about
Sure,
oil. The president says the U.S.
totally,
is taking over the oil. The question is, I guess, if the purpose of the operation was to capture Maduro and bring him to justice, why does the United States need to take over the Venezuelan oil industry?
Well, we don't need to. First, let me go back up. We don't need Venezuela's oil. We have plenty of oil in the United States. What we're not going to allow is for the oil industry in Venezuela to be controlled.
So then why the fuck are you doing this invasion? Oh yeah, we're not gonna allow for any of the fucking control. We don't want this to be controlled by Hezbollah or some shit, or by China or some shit. No, you just want the fucking Venezuelan heavy crude because specifically American refineries are meant to refine heavy crude. That's why you fucking are doing this invasion. Again, just constant fucking doublespeak. Completely fucking nonsensical.
By adversaries of the United States. You have to understand, why does China need their oil? Why does Russia need their oil? Why does Iran need their oil? They're not even in this continent. This is the Western Hemisphere. This is where we live. And we're not going to...
Russia also has the capabilities of being able to process heavy crude. That's why. Because guess what? Most fucking Russian oil is heavy fucking crude.
Allow the Western Hemisphere to be a base of operation for adversaries, competitors, and rivals of the United States.
Have specific oil
we
companies?
also want to see that oil and the proceeds from it. Hold on. We want to see the oil proceeds of that country benefit the people of Venezuela. Why have 8 million people left Venezuela? 8 million, the single largest mass migration probably in modern history, left Venezuela since 2014 because all the wealth of that country...
No, it's because of your fucking sanctions. The U.S. has been sanctioning that country for the past 10 years. That's why they fucking left. Because you guys sanctioned the country and the economy became bad. And so a bunch of people left. No shit.
Country was stolen to the benefit of Maduro and his cronies in the regime, but not to the benefit of the people of Venezuela. You know how destabilizing 8 million migrants is? The number one fear that Brazil has, that Colombia has, that all these countries in the region have about what's happening in Venezuela and our involvement is they're afraid of another mass migration event. That's what they fear. This is deeply destabilizing stuff. It's not going to continue to happen. They are not.
Yeah, dude, we're going to do a regime change in order to further destabilize the position, in order to make a fucking goddamn even bigger migrant wave than there was before. Again, make it make sense. It's nonsensical. He's just constantly contradicting himself.
To come from outside of our hemisphere, destabilize our region in our own backyard, and us have to pay the price for it. Not under President Trump.
Let's talk big picture here. U.S. regime change, historically speaking, has not gone very well for the United States. In Iraq, in Libya, to name a few examples. Can you assure Americans, the people of the United States, that this time will be different?
Well, here's what's happened. We've got this phobia built up and this sort of thing that's it's like, number one, most of the experts that people have on top, I watch these experts and it's clown hour. Okay, these are people that focus their entire career on the Middle East or some other part of the world because that's where all the action was. Very few of them know anything about Venezuela or the Western Hemisphere. Venezuela looks nothing like Libya. It looks nothing like Iraq. It looks nothing like Afghanistan. It looks nothing like the Middle East other than the Iranian agents that are running through there plotting against America. Okay, these are Western countries with long traditions among their people-to-people and cultural level and ties to the United States. So there's nothing like that. So I think people need to stop ascribing apples and oranges here. The apples of the Middle East are the oranges of the Western Hemisphere. Number two, this is about the national.
Nothing. This is nothing. It's a nothing burger. Like, what the fuck is this shit, dude? Like, literally, it's the exact same fucking justifications as Iraq. Like, what else is there to say?
National interest of the United States. And what I'm confident of is we are in a safer and better place because we're taking it seriously. The alternative,
I'm sure.
There is an indicted drug trafficker, illegitimate president running the country, open invitation for all of our adversaries to do whatever they want against the United States from Venezuela. That was not going to continue. The alternative would have been to allow a drug trafficker to continue to use national territory and elements of
bro. Venezuela's going to be an existential threat somehow to the United States of America because of, like, Chinese envoys that are, I don't know, reiterating strategic ties with Caracas. Okay, bro.
state power to further drug trafficking organizations. Read the indictment. This guy used the levers of their security apparatus not to arrest drug traffickers, but to cooperate and facilitate the trafficking of drugs for the purpose of getting them into the United States. That's going to stop.
And yet, Mr. Secretary, a month ago, President Trump pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was just starting a 45-year sentence for trafficking more than 500 tons of cocaine. Does that not undercut the administration's stated goal, as you just said, to go after these narco-terrorists?
It's a good
Number one,
question.
the former president of Honduras. So this is not someone who was in power, had any influence with the politics of Honduras any longer. Number two, I don't do the pardon file. I'm not against it or for it. I just didn't review the file, so I can't speak to you about the dynamics that led the president to make the decision.
Ah, of course. You have nothing to say about the blatant fucking hypocrisy. Okay, cool. That question has been consistently coming up. Even Democrats keep constantly saying, like, why would you pardon Orlando Hernandez then, Trump? Why would you pardon him? No, he just did it because he wanted to curry favor with the Hondurans. That's, like, literally it, right? Because there's, again, I don't know how many times this has to be said. This isn't about fucking drugs. It's not about none of this. It's nonsensical. It's fucking stupid. No, again, this is all about the fucking oil.
That he made. I think he talked about it yesterday at the press conference. He reviewed the file. He went through the arguments in it, and he felt that the former president of Honduras was treated very unfairly by the previous administration and made the decision that he made.
I'm sure.
But I think the answer, whether you agree with that decision or not, people can disagree. I mean, there's people out there who make a living out of disagreeing with anything President Trump does. That doesn't mean you leave Maduro in place. That doesn't mean
That'd be funny, Alex.
I see people saying that. It's like, well, how can you go after Maduro if you didn't do this? That's absurd. The answer to that, whether you have a problem with it or not, is not to leave in place someone who's been indicted, who hasn't even faced American justice yet, but now will.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was referencing, obviously, the former president. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles told Vanity Fair that an attack on Venezuela's mainland would require approval from Congress. Why didn't that happen, and will it happen with any future action the administration plans to take in Venezuela or elsewhere?
This was not an action that required congressional approval. In fact, it couldn't require congressional approval because this was not an invasion. This is not an extended military operation. This was a very precise operation that involved a couple of hours of action. It was a very delicate operation too. It was one that required all.
That's like been basically every fucking military operation within within the United States of America, where they do like random deployments of troops all the fucking goddamn time. Like, okay, bro, nice meme. Again, stupid. Yeah, what was good question? Point meets Minnie. Yeah, Panama in 1990. What was that? What? That was a precise operation that didn't get fucking congressional approval. You got anything for that then, Marco Rubio? Oh, was that did that need fucking congressional approval? Again, it's nonsensical. Again, the whole point of this is just for one reason and one reason only. They just want to make Venezuela the fucking another new colony for the United States of America, send in American oil companies, and then just extract the oil. Again, it's Iraq all over again.
All these conditions to be in place at the right time in the right place. You couldn't afford leaks. We couldn't afford anything out there that would have endangered the mission and gotten people killed or killed off the mission and the optionality. We didn't even know the mission was going to happen. How can you notify something you're not even sure if it can happen? Because in order for it to happen, you needed to have weather conditions in place. He needed to be at the right place at the right time. We needed to have forces prepared to go. There were a lot of factors in place. It was a trigger-based operation. You can't notify that, number one, because you don't even know what's going to happen if those conditions will ever align. And number two, you can't risk it being disclosed. But this was not an attack on Venezuela. This was a law enforcement function to capture an indicted drug trafficker. And of course, we needed the Department of War to support it because they do have anti-aircraft missiles that could shoot down those helicopters. We had to take down radars. We had to take down those anti-air elements on the way in and on the way out. And that's what this was limited to.
But will you seek congressional approval?
Stupid. Again, there's just it's nonsensical. This is a law enforcement action. No, like your indictment is just nonsensical. It's fucking ridiculous and stupid. Like the basis of the indictment is genuinely fucking insane, and it's almost as if like a kid decided to scribble on some fucking paper and say like, "This is my indictment on Nicolas Maduro." It's like, do you have like any evidence for this stuff at all? It's like, no, we have zero, none whatsoever. It's like, okay, bro, nice meme.
For any further action in Venezuela or the region.
Well, we will seek congressional approval for actions that require congressional approval. But otherwise, they will get congressional notification. And this is not an operation that requires congressional approval. In fact, this is an operation akin to what virtually every single president for the last 40 years has conducted. The difference is that when it's Donald Trump, all these Democrats go bonkers.
Is the Cuban government the Trump administration's next target?
Well, no, it's because it's fucking illegal, man. Like, that's why.
Mr. Secretary. very quickly.
Well, the Cuban government is a huge problem. Yeah, the Cuban government is a huge problem for
So is that a yes?
Cuba. But I don't think people fully appreciate. I think they're in a lot of trouble. Yes, I'm not going to talk to you about what our future steps are going to be and our policies are going to be right now in this regard. But I don't think it's any mystery that we're not big fans of the Cuban regime, who, by the way, are the ones that were propping up Maduro. His entire internal security force is.
Again, this is like a consistent talking point here by, of course, Marco fucking goddamn Rubio. Little Marco. He really wants to go after specifically Cuba. Here's also Lindsey Graham doing the exact same fucking dumb fuck idiot propaganda, threatening the Cubans as well.
Could have done it. And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorists.
Very, very good for you to just say that rather blatantly there, Lindsey Graham. Essentially just saying, like, yeah, dude, yeah, we just want to have business interests in there. Because, again, that's always been the point. That's why they do this every single fucking goddamn time. Every single time. They just say it's because of American business interests. Very, very cool.
Terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
Yeah, dude, totally. And they're not saying, like, man, this is fucking crazy. Why is this happening? I don't know. Very, very fucking stupid. Obviously, they have also threatened to do Greenland again. Katie Miller, wife of Stephen Miller, put this out on her fucking goddamn Twitter right here. This. Saying that they want to also annex fucking Greenland. Again, Stephen Miller, one of the fucking right-hand men of the President of the United States. And in that same fucking gaggle right here, this gaggle on Air Force One, he threatened Mexico. He threatened to invade Venezuela again. Because, like, oh, if there's no fucking cooperation here, I don't know, might be a fucking goddamn problem, you know? If she doesn't fucking cooperate, could be an issue. Like, it's genuinely fucking insane. Just, he's been talking about how he needs Greenland for national security now or something. It's not about fucking oil and natural resources. Bullshit, by the way. I don't fucking believe that for even one fucking goddamn second. That's a lie, more than likely. Again, it's just more fucking imperialism and justifications for attacks on people. That's the point. That's why they want to fucking do this. Dying fucking empire is dying and shit. And, you know, it's time to just, like, faff about and basically just do a bunch of fucking coups and do a bunch of other fucking goddamn bullshit. For what exactly? We're just gonna fucking conquer people. Whatever. We're just gonna do imperialism. Who cares about allies? Who cares about fucking soft power? Who gives a shit about any of that stuff? And we're just going to fucking do, we're just gonna conquer a bunch of people. Like, unironically. He also, guess what? Threatened Iran again because of the current protests that are going on. So, whoa. Now Iran is getting fucking threatened again. For what purpose exactly? Because of a bunch of small protests, which are breaking out into something bigger, and because of the ineffective nuclear fucking site strikes that he did, which basically delayed the Iranians for about a couple of months. And guess what? It's been a couple of months since those fucking strikes happened. And the nuclear facilities are back as a result. Who would have thought? He's also talked about how the cartels are running Mexico. Any evidence for that? No. There's some towns that are owned by the cartels simply due to the fact that the Mexican forces have just not had the necessary equipment in order to be able to effectively combat these cartels, because guess what? They keep getting a bunch of American fucking equipment. And of course, he's threatening us again. Good old fucking Canada. Why? By doing, again, more fucking goddamn 51st state bullshit. He's threatening the two neighbors who have had the best fucking possible relationships with the United States of America. For what purpose exactly? Because he's just a madman. madman on a fucking goddamn throne who's basically losing his fucking goddamn mind. Marco Rubio also did a fucking interview with Jared Stephanopoulos. Why don't we take a look?
This morning, President Trump was pretty clear yesterday. He said the United States is going to run Venezuela. Under what legal authority?
Well, first of all, what's going to happen here is that we have a quarantine on their oil. That means their economy will not be able to move forward until the conditions that are in the national interest of the United States and the interest of the Venezuelan people are met. And that's what we intend to do. So that leverage remains. That leverage is ongoing. And we expect that it's going to lead to results here. We're hopeful that it does. Positive results for the people.
Again, this is fucking nonsensical. What's the legal basis for any of this? That's
Venezuela, but ultimately, most importantly for us, in the national interest of the United States, we will no longer have, hopefully, as we move forward here, we'll set the conditions so that we no longer have in our hemisphere Venezuela, that's the crossroads for many of our adversaries around the world, including Iran and Hezbollah, is no longer sending us drug gangs, is no longer sending us drug boats, is no longer a narco-trafficking paradise for all those drugs coming out of Colombia to go through the Caribbean and towards the United States.
Again, it just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Why would the Colombians decide to rope in the Venezuelans as a random middleman to send drugs to the United States of America? Like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense, man.
And obviously, we want a better future for the people of Venezuela. We want them to have an oil industry where the wealth goes to the people, not to a handful of corrupt individuals and stolen by pirates all over the world. That's what we're working towards, and we intend to use the leverage we have.
Trump has literally said himself that he wants American oil companies to profit from Venezuelan fucking oil. None of the again, this is the exact same excuses they used for Iraq as well.
To help achieve that.
Let me ask the question again. What is the legal authority for the United States to be running Venezuela?
Well, I explained to you what our goals are and how we're going to use the leverage to make it happen. As far as what our legal authority is on the quarantine, I'm very simple. We have court orders. These are sanctioned boats, and we get orders from courts to go after and seize these sanctions. So that's, I don't know, is the court not a legal authority?
So is the United States running Venezuela right now?
Well, I've explained once again, I'll do it one more time. What we are running is the direction that this is going to move moving forward, and that is we have leverage. This leverage we are using, and we intend to use. We started using already. You can see where they are running.
Trump has said that he wants to fucking occupy the country. Like, unironically, he has said he wants to occupy the country. Again, the fucking, the stooges here can't have a straight message on any of this stuff because it's just so fucking ridiculously nonsensical and stupid. Like, there is no justification for any of this. It's just getting oil for the sake of fucking getting oil. That's it. Or, unironic, Pax Americana fucking bullshit, which all these supposed populist conservatives are now heavily in support of.
Running out of storage capacity. In a few weeks, they're going to have to start pumping oil unless they make changes. And that leverage that we have with the armada of boats that are currently positioned allow us to seize any sanctioned boats coming into or out of Venezuela, loaded with oil or on its way in to pick up oil, and we can pick and choose which ones we go after. We have court orders for each one. That will continue to be in place until the people who have control over the
Yeah, you have court orders for each one. I totally believe that, bro.
Levers of power in that country make changes that are not just in the interest of the people of Venezuela, but are in the interest of the United States and the things that we care about. That's what we intend to do. The legal authority is the court orders that we have.
Yeah, the schizophrenic court orders that are DOJ fucking made, more than likely, our DOJ made, our stooges within there saying yeah, we can just go after any boats just because we said we could. Genuinely insane. I just want to take a look at some of this fucking gaggle here. Why don't we take a look?
Yeah, a little bit different. We have some good people. We have Senator Lindsey Graham. Hello, everybody. Howard Lutnick, Commerce. We have
Not
we have a lot of people. We have Aaron. We have a lot of people. Go ahead.
Have you spoken with any of the U.S. service members who were injured during that operation?
Yes, we have calls into them. They're all in good shape.
Can you detail what watching that was like when all this played out in Venezuela and what Maduro was doing that moment?
Well, I knew the possible danger. It was a very dangerous operation. It was amazing that we had a few injured, but all are in good shape right now. Just got sworn in.
I don't care about this.
Don't ask me who's in charge because I'm American. Nobody else.
The next question is who's in charge of Venezuela right now? Have you spoken to the newly sworn in president there, Rodriguez? And what are your thoughts on the entire situation? You said he wasn't run Venezuela.
We're dealing with the people. We're dealing with the people that just got sworn in. And don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means we're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
We're in charge.
Wow, directly contradicting what fucking Marco Rubio has been saying. Oh yeah, we're the ones in charge. Just, again, self-admitting that it's just an occupation. We're in charge of Venezuela now, We just got rid of the guy and now we're in charge. It's like, okay, bro, nice meme. Again, what was the point of, hyping up fucking Maria Corina Machado then at this point? Unironically, I do think at this point, Alex, that your position is correct. The reason for as to why Maria Corina Machado is not getting the fucking role is because she has the Nobel Peace Prize and he doesn't.
Charge.
Have you spoken with her?
No, I haven't, but other
Do you
people.
want to?
At the right time.
Did he just give Chelsea Rodriguez any guarantees in exchange for cooperating?
No, but she's cooperating. Are you going to demand free elections in the short term?
Yeah, cooperating.
What you're talking. We have to do one thing in Venezuela, bring it back. It's a dead country right now. It's a country that, frankly, we would have been, if I had lost the election, we would have been a dead country. We would have been Venezuela.
I don't know how many times this we said the country's been sanctioned since fucking 2014. I wonder why it's been struggling economically.
Steroids. Venezuela right now is a dead country. We have to bring it back. We're going to have big investments by the oil companies to bring back the infrastructure. And the oil
Okay, then fucking get rid of the sanctions. Get rid of the fucking embargo on the country. And then let the Venezuelan people make their own fucking decisions with what they want to do with their oil wealth. Stupid.
companies are ready to go. They're going to go in. They're going to rebuild the infrastructure. You know, we built it to start off with many years ago. They took it away. You can't do that. You can't do that with me. They did it with other presidents.
No, you fucking dumbass. They deposed the military dictatorship that the fucking United States implemented through a fucking coup. The Venezuelan people deposed that military dictatorship because they didn't fucking agree with it, voted Hugo Chavez into fucking place, and he decided to nationalize Venezuelan resources for the benefit of the Venezuelan people. And you're just mad about it. Like, unironically. Just mad.
Well, I think we're looking more at getting it fixed, getting it ready first, because it's a mess. The country is a mess. It's been horribly run. The oil is just flowing at a very low level. Much lower than...
He's never gonna mention any of the fucking sanctions that have been on the country for years. I wonder why it's a fucking mess. I wonder why it's poorly fucking run. Yeah, like Nicolas Maduro, is he corrupt? Is he a dictator? Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But I'm gonna tell you right now, sanctions that are currently in place in the country, certainly not helping.
Even if it was badly run, it should have more income, more oil than what they do. So we're going to have the big oil companies going, and they're going to fix the infrastructure, they're going to invest money. We're not going to invest anything. We're going to just take care of the country. We're going to cherish the country. We're going to take care, more importantly, of the people, including
Yeah, you're
Venezuelans
totally
who are
not
living in
gonna
our country
invest
that were forced to
anything,
leave their country.
man.
And they're going to be taken very good care of. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I have. All of them, basically. They want to go in so badly. Yes. Before and after. And they want to go in, and they're going to do a great job for the people of Venezuela. And they're going to represent us well.
Good point,
You know, the
William
infrastructure is rusty, rotten, most of it unusable. It's old, it's broken. You see pipes laying all over the ground. Nothing's been invested for years. Chevron's in it, you know, they've done a good job, but even they haven't been in a position to invest money because they're on a month-to-month basis. They're only there because I wanted them to be there. So Venezuela thus far has been very nice, but it helps to have a force like we have. You know, we were ready for a second wave. We were all set to go, but we don't think we're going to need it.
There's about 17 billion worth of oil reserves in Venezuela.
More.
Is that going to be...
You mean trillion?
And is that going to be
Did you say
something...
billion or
I said billion.
You said 17 billion. It's much more than that.
Okay, so what's going to happen to those reserves?
Well, we're going to run everything. We're going to run it, fix it. We'll have elections at the right time. The main thing you have to fix is a broken country. There's no money. There's inflation. Like we would have had if I didn't.
Again, like when he says like we're gonna have elections at the right time, when is the right time in your mind? Because I don't believe him. He lies about as much as he fucking breathes. I don't believe him. Simply put, what if they just decide like, well, you know, all these like random attacks keep happening on our precious oil companies while they're trying to fix the infrastructure, so we're just not gonna have elections, and I'm just gonna keep running stuff. Again, what does he mean by we're gonna run stuff and we're gonna have elections when the time is right? Again, just don't believe anything he says from this. He's a liar.
With this election, we would have been Venezuela on steroids. Lindsay would know that. You might say something on that because we were talking before.
Sure,
we
man.
would have had a doubling up of very bad things that cost us a lot of money, like welfare, frankly. We wouldn't have had jobs, and instead of having $18 trillion in, we would have had.
Oh yeah, I know. You want to fucking cut welfare as well. Yeah, I mean you already did that through the one big beautiful bill. So you know, nice meme.
At least $5 to $10 trillion leaving the country. So our costs would have gone up, and all of the money that's, you know, we're setting a record. It's long broken. And that's after 10 months. We haven't included the 11th month yet. So we think we're going to hit over $20 trillion. The all-time record is 3 by another country known as China. About 10 years ago, they did 3. We're going to do close to 20 trillion. By the way, there has never been anything like this ever before. And it's all because of tariffs and the election. But it's because of tariffs. Without tariffs, we wouldn't have 10...
Fucking tariffs are bringing in $20 trillion fucking dollars, bro. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like, what are you even supposed to say to that? There's just like, again, it's schizo fucking nonsense. Old man fucking rambling. Totally, yeah. $20 trillion brought in by tariffs. Okay, bro.
There was a time back in 2016 when I remember your RNC speech and you were saying that regime change and nation building.
Where?
When you were speaking at the RNC back in 2016, you were criticizing regime change and nation building, the U.S. being involved in that. It seems obviously that your stance has changed on that. What led to that? The end of the U.S. nation building now is that...
This isn't a country that's on the other side of the world. This isn't a country like we have to travel 24 hours in an airplane. This is Venezuela. It's in our area. The Don Road Doctrine.
So is that what you would say that we're in the business of nation?
Did he just say the Don Road Doctrine? Pretty much just to say everything right there. Ladies, gentlemen, and those in between. It's just the fucking... It's Monroe Doctrine. Because he unironically does believe in the fucking Monroe Doctrine. Again, an antiquated fucking doctrine of justifying U.S. imperialistic actions because it's just like, well, this is our hemisphere. This is our stuff. So if you try to fuck with our stuff, fuck you. You can go fuck yourselves. Like, it's so stupid, man. It's nonsensical.
We're in the business of having countries around us that are viable and successful, and where the oil is allowed to freely come out because that's good against the prices now. That's good for our country. We have a very sick neighbor. It's not a neighbor, but it's close to a neighor, and that's Venezuela. It's very sick. Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States, and he's not going to be doing it very long.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. He has a...
So, okay, here's the threat to fucking Gustavo Petro. Again, yeah, totally. Fucking Gustavo Petro is the main guy in the fucking lab cooking the fucking cocaine. And it wasn't Ronald Reagan who decided to import a bunch of bricks of fucking cocaine during the 1980s. Yeah, sure, totally, dude.
Cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very
So
long.
an operation by the U.S.
It sounds good to me.
Secretary Rubio mentioned
You know why? Because they kill a lot of people. Yeah.
Secretary Rubio mentioned Cuba yesterday in his remarks. Does the U.S. have a plan to do something?
Well, Cuba always survived because of Venezuela. Now they won't have that money coming in. They won't have the income coming in. You know, a lot of Cubans were killed yesterday. You know that. A lot of Cubans were killed.
Do you know who
The bodyguards. No, they're looking. But there was a lot of death on the other side. No death on our side. But there was a lot of death on the other side, unfortunately. But a lot of Cubans were killed yesterday.
80 people got killed, I believe.
Trying to protect them.
There's been protesters killed in Iran. You said we were locked and loaded, ready to go. What is the line there for when the U.S. is going to get involved in those protests?
We'll take a look. We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Can I just add something? So when he first got elected,
So there's the threat to Iran again. Like we all know about the sort of delays to the nuclear program. Obviously, it was only like a couple months of delays. So of course, Iran, yeah, you know, just like you're saying, Boy Meets Mini. Iran killing people, bad. U.S. doing it, it's fine. Whatever. Who gives a shit? We just did it because YOLO swag 420. We can do that. Whatever. We're the United States of America. Again, no standards. No standards. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, post-truth, post-COVID area, nothing fucking matters. Just lie. It doesn't matter. People are just going to believe you anyways because, again, like, information doesn't matter. None of this is going to get called out. It doesn't matter. It's all bullshit anyways. So, whatever. Just say a bunch of random bullshit because you can just get away with it.
in January, we met, biggest comeback ever. We talked about
I didn't feel it was a comeback, actually.
So
It's the first one.
the bottom line is we talked about a drug caliphate in our backyard. We have
Drug
Venezuela,
caliphate.
we have Cuba, we have Colombia in our backyard. And these three countries have been condemned ever since I've been in politics. Joe Biden put a $25 billion bounty on Maduro's head. Chris Smith, the day he got inaugurated, said, I hope Trump will hold Maduro's feet to the fire. You did. So what has he done? He's going to clear our backyard of a drug caliphate. Countries run by narco-terrorist dictators who murder, rape, send drugs into our country to kill thousands of our citizens.
Dude, I feel bad for Muslims, by the way. Listen, they used to be the OG terrorists, and now there's narco-terrorists. Like, listen, they lost their fucking goddamn slur. Now they don't have the ability to have caliphates within the Middle East anymore. Like, what the fuck is this, dude? Like, again, we all know why they're doing this, because they just want to be as Islamophobic as fucking possible. Say a bunch of words that'll titillate the lizard brains of their dumbass fucking base, right? Caliphate, that's a scary Muslim word. Terrorist, scary Muslim word. We're scared of the Muslims. Muslims.
Democratic friends, you should be celebrating this. When bin Laden went down, I was the first to applaud President Obama. This was one of the most sophisticated military operations in the history of the country. What they were able to do was amazing. They knew we were coming. We had a good part of the Navy, and they were able to capture this man alive. No military in the world could have done it. And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They preyed on their own people. Their days are
Here's
numbered.
a threat
We're going
to
to wake up one
Cuba.
day, I hope in 26,
Again.
in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
By the way, you mentioned something that's interesting. Lindsay mentioned bin Laden. I wrote about bin Laden 1 year before the attack of the World Trade Center. And I said, you got to go after bin Laden. It was in my book. And very few people want to say that, but it's in my book. You know that. You've actually talked about it. But if they would have had...
Pedophiles as well,
Boy
Boy
Meets
Mini.
Then you wouldn't have had the World Trade Center tragedy. Did you know that? I predicted bin Laden.
I learn something every day.
No, but did you hear that?
Well, I did not. I just started
No, I wrote a book. It was
I wrote
1
it,
year
but
before the attack.
let me tell you,
the book came out.
folks.
And it talked about, there's a whole section dedicated to a guy named bin Laden who's a bad guy we have to take out.
So I'll get the book. But right after the election, he told me, I'm going to clean up our backyard. Now, this was before he took office. This is one of the president's priorities, is to make sure that people in our backyard, narco-terrorist states, will not continue to kill Americans without it. The number of people that will be alive today, because Venezuela will be in different hands, is going to be tens of thousands. This is something to be celebrated, whether you like him or not.
Not just Venezuela. It's what's coming out of Venezuela
Yes.
in the form of ocean-going and Gulf-going and sea-going boats. Every time we knock out a boat, and we've done a lot of them, we did 3 over the last few days, they're very rare now. You don't see too many of them.
Hard to reach.
But drugs by sea are down 97%. Think of that. Now we're going to stop it by land, too. The land is easy. We had to do the sea before we did the land because it just works out.
Yeah, you were just talking about the land, but
How are you going to do the land? I don't know, ground invasion of Mexico? Because, again, he's been constantly now threatening Mexico by saying that Claudia Sheinbaum is basically overtaken by all the fucking cartels. Like, how are you going to do this? I don't know. It's nonsensical. Again, just imperialism for the sake of fucking imperialism. Dying empire shit that needs to flail about and try to maintain some form of relevance on the world stage.
It sounds like
And by the way, you have to do something with Mexico. Mexico has to get their act together because they're pouring through Mexico, and we're going to have to do something. We'd love Mexico to do it. They're capable of doing it. But unfortunately, the cartels are very strong in
I
Mexico.
remember one time you actually, speaking of Mexico, I asked you about Claudia Sheinbaum, and you told me at one point you would offer to send U.S. troops into
Sure, I
Mexico
did.
to combat drug trafficking there. Is that something you
Well, I like
spoke to her
Claudia.
about?
I think she's a terrific person. I would say every single time I talk to her, I offer to send troops.
And she's just not willing?
She's concerned. She's a little afraid. The cartels are running Mexico. Whether you like it or not, it's not nice to say. The cartels are running Mexico.
Well, no, Claudia Sheinbaum just doesn't fucking trust you at the helm. That with a bunch of fucking U.S. troops on her fucking soil, because again, she's talked about this consistently. It's like, we don't have a problem with accepting help from the U.S. They just have to respect our sovereignty. And considering the fact that you've been talking about wanting to annex Greenland, wanting to occupy Venezuela, wanting to do more fucking attacks on a bunch of different countries, it makes a lot of sense why she might be rather apprehensive of having American boots on the ground within her country.
Speaking of those U.S. troops, I mean, one thing that Americans and a lot of people are wondering, you just sound like you laid out another strike, another land strike against Venezuela. You sound like you laid that out. But,
We didn't need it. But we're prepared to do a second strike if we need it. We're totally prepared.
but that's
And
off
we're
the
still
table.
prepared.
That's off the table now.
No, it's not. If they don't behave, we will do a second strike.
The question is that the American troops, are they going to be on the ground or doing any kind of peacekeeping? I think Americans are
It depends on what happens. It depends a little bit on the new administration, if you want to call it.
So if you see that pushback from Rodriguez and ultimately...
Well, I don't think it was pushback. I think that,
She called it-
well, you hear a different person than I hear.
Really? So you have spoken with her?
We talked about it.
Oh, you did speak.
They've been very good.
Because she called it kidnapping of the majority.
It's all right. It's not a bad term. Go ahead.
Now, are you going to demand that Kelsey Rodriguez let opposition figures return or free any political
I love how he just admits that it was a fucking kidnapping. That's so funny.
prisoners?
We haven't gotten to that yet. Right now, what we want to do is fix up the oil, fix up the country, bring the country back, and then have elections.
No. Is it
We
fair?
better bring the country back. Otherwise, you're just going to have a mess that's so bad. It was really bad. It's going to get a lot worse.
Again, people should be very wary because everything is being extremely fucking vague on purpose, right? To make sure that there is no sort of end goal here. Because again, has not been any end goal basically presented. So first they wanted to, capture Nicolas Maduro. Okay, now they want the oil companies to go in and get the fucking oil. Okay, like, how long is that going to be taking? How exactly is this going to be done? Just have the companies just go in and people are just going to cooperate with us. Like, who exactly? The vice presidents. Like, are they actually going to cooperate? There's already been contradictory messages on that exactly. They're just cooperating. Again, everything has to be incredibly fucking vague on purpose to justify a fucking forever war. Again, it's Iraq 3 Electric Boogaloo.
Unless we go in and fix it.
Is the U.S. going to reopen its embassy in Caracas or get the
We're
DEA?
thinking about it. We've been asked to do it.
You
We've actually been asked to do it.
Speaking of Putin and on the phone, of course, with Zelensky at Mar-a-Lago,
Yeah,
you told me that
numerous times.
you told me that your New Year's resolution was peace on earth. Do you think that 2026, if you could set a deadline when the Russia-Ukraine
I don't
war...
do deadlines, but I would say that, like as an example, Thailand and Cambodia.
Well,
I was very
where
proud
does
of
it
that.
actually
And they
stand
started
for
up again and they got it stopped.
Where does
I
it
give myself 1/4 of a point for that. So now I'm 8 1/4 points because they started up Thailand and Cambodia and now it's okay.
So where does it actually stand between Russia
I think we'll have a
and
deal
Ukraine
at some point, hopefully in the not too distant. So I don't know if you saw the numbers just came out. 30,000 soldiers were killed this current
Yeah, I don't do
30,000.
deadlines.
27,000
Yeah.
a month before.
Have you said your
Bullshit.
sanctions?
We discuss it all the time. There's nothing else I talk to him. I don't consider him very exciting to talk to, except when we're talking about legislation. And we talk about legislation all the time. You think that's an exciting relationship? It's not. But we talk a lot about legislation, and we have great legislation coming. You want to tell?
So the tariff bill, so here's what I believe. I don't think we could have secured the border without the threat of tariffs. I don't think we'd have a European trade deal without the threat of tariffs. So if you want to end this conflict, then put pressure on Putin's customers. He sanctioned the 2 largest oil companies and
Oh, so you're gonna go after Ambani in India and the Chinese, because those are the guys who are buying most of the fucking goddamn oil and resources within Russia. You're going to do that. That's who you're fucking gonna go. Yeah, fucking good luck with that. Good fucking luck. You're gonna sanction the Indians and the fucking Chinese in order to further harm the Russians. Despite the fact that the Majinsky sanctions that were on Russian oligarchs specifically were already being highly fucking effective. That you took away. Okay, bro. Nice meme.
Russia, which is the biggest pressure anybody's put on Putin since the war started. But we have 85 co-sponsors to give this president...
It's hurting Russia very bad.
Oh, yeah. So this bill would allow...
And India also is.
Yes, sir. So he put a 25% tariff on India for buying Russian oil. I was at the Indian ambassador's house about a month ago, and all he wanted to talk about is how they're buying less Russian oil. Would you tell the president to relieve the tariff? This stuff works. So I'm hoping we'll bring the bill up, and it's from 0 to 500. He picks the number. Nobody else does. But if you're buying cheap Russian oil, keeping Putin's war machine going, we're trying to give the president the ability to make that a hard choice by tariffs. I really do believe that what he did with India is the chief reason India is now buying substantially less Russian oil. So I hope we pass this bill soon. And after
They
this,
wanted to make me happy, basically. Modi's a very good man.
Yes.
He's a good guy. He knew I was happy. And it was important to make me happy. They do trade.
Yeah.
And we can raise tariffs on them very quickly, and it would be
people are
very
afraid of
bad
that.
for them.
All of them say you told me we're very thrilled.
And I'll tell you something, the Russian economy is lousy. But what's really lousy is the Venezuelan economy. The Venezuelan economy.
Well, it's because the Ukrainians have been constantly blowing up oil refineries within Russia. And they've been basically doing their own sort of Iraq. Well, this would have been the first Iraq for the Russians, okay? The Ukraine war is the Russian version of Iraq, which is why their fucking economy is in the shitter. Why their fucking strategic reserves are also in the shitter.
Is, I think, the worst economy I've ever seen. If you look at inflation, things are doubling every day. It's a disaster. We got to fix the country fast.
Again, you sanction the country. Take away the sanctions, they'll probably be okay.
President Trump, we're going to be any more. He said other companies that you go in there. Are there any other companies that you talk to about dealing with Venezuela? Many Venezuela people talk about that. Are there any other corporations, entities outside?
Many outside of the oil business. Well, the oil business, yes, but outside, yes. Howard, you want to
They have steel, you have minerals, right? All the critical minerals. They have.
Yeah, Russia,
industries. That's
Afghanistan
non-Russian.
too, of
so
course.
Steel, aluminum, but minerals. This is all. It's rich. It was once upon a time one of the great.
Why the fuck do you need steel, dude? Like what the fuck do you mean? Like, I thought the American steel industry was already incredibly robust as it is. Oh, wait, you guys fucking decided to ship out all those cheap manufacturing jobs to China instead. Like, incredibly fucking stupid, dude. Whoa. Guys, maybe those fucking free trade agreements that were negotiated during the fucking 80s and the 90s should not have been done at the behest of corporations and the rich. Who would have thought?
Economies and cultures in the world, and it was destroyed. And now President Trump is going to fix it and bring it back for Venezuela.
But it's not easy. It's really gone bad. But it's got potential. What? They have rare earth, but everybody has rare earth. Rare earth is not rare. What's rare is the processing.
We got
doing
almost
processing plants.
Everybody's got fucking rare earth. Okay. Rare earth is not rare, but we need to get a ton of rare earth minerals for ourselves. But it's not that rare. Everyone's got rare earth minerals, even though Venezuela has a large amount of fucking lithium deposits available. Again, like, consistent with the fascist. Always doing the fucking doublespeak.
There's no such thing as rare earth. The rare earth is everywhere. What isn't everywhere is the processing of rare earth. And we have a lot of places going up right now.
One thing we haven't specifically react to is the Minnesota fraud that we've seen play out.
Well, it just doesn't get worse. I've reacted. It's almost not even believable. This very stupid low IQ governor, he's a very stupid man because, I had a campaign against him with JD, and he's a stupid man, and he's a corrupt politician. And the Somalians are ripping off our country to the tune of, looks like $19 billion, but that's only what they can find. So usually when you look at 19, that would mean it could be 50. But the numbers are astronomical. Think of it. They have a dead country. They don't have government. They don't have anything. They don't have a military. All they do is run around shooting people and trying to capture ships. You know, we don't let them take ships anymore. You know why? We use the same exact missile on them that we use on the drug carriers. And it's very effective. You notice there's nobody capturing ships anymore? Because as they head out to go capture the ship, and the ship doesn't want to fire back because it's very flammable stuff in many cases.
Again, we've talked about what's going on with the fucking... Like, there's a current DOJ investigation that was started under the Biden administration looking into all the fraud. The Nick Shirley video that he did, complete fucking lie. And he might potentially get fucking sued by the state of Minnesota for his dumbass fucking video where he just lied. The two daycares that Nick Shirley went to, the Board of Education and of students went to those fucking goddamn daycares, did the proper procedure, checked what was going on, and saw that everything was above board and totally fucking normal. That they were legitimate fucking daycares. I wonder why the random schizo MAGA Trump supporter who, I don't know, listened to one fucking random dumb fuck who was allegedly investigating all of this and had his random schizo fucking paper, decided to go into the fucking daycare when there was probably no kids there because of the fact that they were probably not operating during those times because, again, he was doing this during fucking Christmas. Again, it's non-fucking sensical. It's so fucking stupid. It's something that was inherently manufactured in order to drum up a bunch of fucking outrage against fucking Somalis to justify more immigration crackdowns within Minnesota. That's literally it.
The insurance companies don't want to say, they build $1 billion ship, and they don't want anybody firing rockets into the ship. But we're hitting them so hard, and it's very similar. Same missile system. It's called deadly accurate. And you notice that ships aren't being taken anymore. The pirates are.
That's right. I thought about
the pirates aren't. Well,
no Somali pirates.
It's actually very easy. They head out. We say, guess what? There's pirates being.
Is there even, like, instances of, like, a large amount of Somali fucking pirates? Is this even I don't know, like, ring, 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 ring. The 90s are calling. They'd like their fucking, I don't know, military adventurous propaganda back.
That's the end of the pirates. The shipping business is coming back. See, these are little things that we're doing. And I'm doing it not just for American ships. I'm doing it worldwide. Because we don't want ships taken by Somalia pirates. But what they are doing is they're stealing money from the American taxpayer. And every one of them should be forced to leave this country, including Ilhan Omar, who's a total crook. And she's one of the leaders of it. Not the only, because she's not that smart. But think of it. 19 billion.
She's not that smart, but she's one of the leaders of the Somali fucking pirates going and attacking people in the Gulf of Aden. Okay, bro. Yeah, totally. In the Red Sea, along with the Houthis or some shit. Again, just schizo rambling nonsense from this dumb fucking old man, from the mad wannabe king currently in power who just wants to do a bunch of random bullshit and just justify immigration crackdowns within Minnesota. That's literally it.
$1 billion at least they've stolen from Minnesota and from the United States. It's actually more from the United States because Minnesota puts in, and we're not going to pay it anymore. We're going to have Waltz go pay. We're not going to pay them, and we're not going to pay California, and we're not going to pay Illinois with that big slob of a governor that they have that doesn't want. We brought down crime by 25%.
First off, lies. And the reason why he's specifically upset about Illinois and California is because courts have ruled that Trump's deployment of the National Guard and of ICE have been illegal. That's why he's particularly salty about both J.B. Pritzker and California, because of the fact that what he is doing in those states is illegal. And he's been getting fucking owned in court as a result. And he's salty about the fact that he's been getting owned in court.
5%. He didn't do anything. He's not doing anything. But they want us to leave. He had a day where they had 17 murders. Not too long ago. 17 murders and 70...
Yeah, let's not talk about how you're more than likely going to get murdered in a bunch of... There was a really good Bell the Fifth Column video about this, by the way, of how ICE has just been getting consistently fucking owned. None of these motherfuckers are going to talk about how crime within Republican-run cities, these decrepit third-world shitholes, is significantly fucking worse. He is never going to mention any of that because it would make him look really bad politically. Again, if you want to be the dude who, I don't know, takes care of a bunch of issues with fucking crime within the United States of America, okay, then you go to fucking Republican states because that's where it's significantly worse.
7 people shot, but 17 died. And then he talks about, we can't handle it. But we pull back, and we'll go in at the appropriate time, but we're the ones that brought the crime down.
Every single Democratic city that he has tried to do military occupation of, 30-year lows of fucking crime. Crime has been going down in Democratic fucking cities. All of them had spikes because of what exactly? COVID. Something that he also fucking mishandled and allowed to go rampant within the United States of America. Again, all fucking roads, all fucking consequences point back to this fucking dumbass's terrible policies more often than not. It's genuine. Like, these people are just wholeheartedly incapable of taking any responsibility for any of their actions. It's incredible to me.
Down 20%. They didn't bring it down. Pritzker didn't bring it down. Same thing with Gavin Newsom. If we didn't go in to Los Angeles 7 months ago when they had the riots, even the police commissioner, the head of police, said if we didn't have the federal government go in, we would have lost total control of the city of Los Angeles, and they would have had to cancel the Olympics. Think of that.
Speaking of Los Angeles, the National Guard, you pulled out
No
the National
evidence
Guard
of this,
on Portland.
obviously.
You know what? You know that Portland?
Again, literally, the fucking the head of transportation within the Department of Transportation, rather, advocated for the National Guard to go into fucking into California, literally just because of the fact that some fucking Waymo vehicles got called over and flipped and lit on fire. That's like the justification for the attempted occupation of Los Angeles for 5 fucking Waymos, dude.
We got it down to almost no crime. You know that? When we pulled it out, we had a Supreme Court decision. We can go back. We're allowed to go back in. But we'll go back in when the crime starts. Look, the crime will soon start because they now know that we're out. And at the appropriate time, we'll go back in. And we may, if we're allowed to.
Oh, the crime is just going to randomly start again. Yeah, because the Supreme Court did say, no, your fucking occupation here is legal. Fuck off. Like, one of the few good rulings of the Supreme Court, saying that, again, everything that he's been doing with his fucking deployments to the National Guard has been fucking legal, and holding up the lower court orders saying, hey, stop this. Again, just No evidence for any of this whatsoever. DC, 30-year crime low. Chicago, 30-year fucking crime low. New York City, 30-year fucking crime low. Boy Meets Smitty, you can probably tell me about the crime rate within Los Angeles. 30-year fucking... It is 30-year lows for all of these fucking Democratic-run cities. But is he ever going to talk about any of the Republican-run cities? Is he? I think the highest, like, per capita murder rate... I think, and this is said in the Bell the Fifth Column video, I should probably pull it up, was, I think, Lexington something. Lexington something. I don't 100% remember. It is a city within, not Kentucky, no. I could be getting it wrong. Or it's like Jacksonville or something. I think it was in Florida. I think it was Jacksonville or in Florida or something. Whatever. It was a Republican-run city. She was going through a bunch of differing Republican-run cities, mentioning them, saying, like, if you're going to get murdered somewhere, you're more than likely going to get murdered there. Actually, let me go ahead and fucking pull up the video so I can just make sure for myself. Here's the video itself specifically. From Bell of the Fifth Column, or Bell of the Ranch, talking about Trump's nonsensical framing of Chicago that he's doing in this fucking gaggle.
Well, howdy there, Internet people, it's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about Trump's fictional framing of Chicago. We've talked on the channel numerous times about how the perception of major cities is off when it comes to stats, and that perception is mainly skewed by top 10 lists. When you see a top 10 news list, it's important to remember what they're actually listing. Most lists clearly define what they're talking about, but you have to actually pay attention. Sometimes it's obvious. If the list is top 10 largest cities, you know it's measuring the size of the city. But what if it's top 10 crime-ridden cities? It becomes really important to know what they count as a city. Most lists of this sort actually only include major cities. So, people end up shocked when they discover Jackson, Mississippi has a higher murder rate than most of the cities you associate with high crime. In 2024, you were more likely to be shot in Selma, Alabama, or Laurinburg, North Carolina, than you were in Chicago.
Laurinburg, North Carolina. That's what I was thinking about. And yeah, Selma, Alabama as well. Guess what? Republican-run cities.
And that on a per capita basis, a lot of rural areas are worse than the cities that get fear-mongered about. In fact, last year, the U.S. county with the highest per capita firearm homicide rate was Holmes County, Mississippi, a completely rural county. Trump is about to get a public lesson in the fact that public perception is not the same as reality. Trump has called Chicago a war zone, and just a few months ago, he called it a killing field. He threatened federal and military intervention. His fictional depiction of Chicago comes from high-profile news stories, not reality. Recently, Trump suggested the city would be gone without the presence of National Guard troops, as he was withdrawing them after repeated court losses. It's worth noting that because of his court losses, the National Guard troops weren't deployed to the streets in Chicago. Nope, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker called out Trump's framing of events by saying, quote, Donald Trump's lying again. He lost in court when Illinois stood up against his attempt to militarize American cities with the National Guard. Now, Trump is forced to stand down. Well, it turns out that while most of us knew Trump's depiction of Chicago was false, and the byproduct of that weird phenomenon where some men become irrationally afraid of major cities because of news coverage, we probably didn't...
Old man fucking syndrome? Oh, Belle, are you telling me because of Trump getting really, really fucking old, he develops an irrational fear of fucking black people? I mean, he always had an irrational fear of fucking black people. Again, look at the Central Park 5 specifically. He's always been a fucking dumb fuck racist. And you're telling me that as a result of his brain leaking out of his ears because he's getting old, really, really fucking old, it's becoming significantly worse? No. Who would have thought?
Didn't know how false the depiction was. It turns out Chicago had the lowest number of murders in years. Decades, really. 1965. The lowest number of murders since 1965. It was an almost 30% decline from last year, from 587 in 2024 to 416 in 2025. There are going to be a lot of small towns and medium-sized cities with higher rates than Chicago this year. I wonder if Trump will call them war zones and deploy the National Guard. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.
Oh, so Trump is fucking lying. Whoops. Damn, I can't believe that my heckin' populist conservative Trump would lie about all this stuff and would consistently lie about the reasons for as to why he's doing these military occupations. Again, it's all practice for him for what exactly? Oh, if he actually wants to do the military fucking dictatorship, he's ready to fucking do the military dictatorship. Who would have fucking thought?
Most powerful thing we haven't used the Insurrection Act.
You're considering using the
I've
Insurrection
always considered it, but we haven't needed it anywhere. 48% of the presidents of this country have used it. Bush used it, I think, 22 times or something. You know that, right? I mean, Bush the elder.
Now, what do you need short term, next 2 weeks? What do you need from Delcy Rodriguez? You've
Just total access. We need total access. We need access to the oil and to other things in their country that allow us to rebuild their country.
What other things?
A lot of things. Roads that aren't built, bridges that are falling down. Yeah, bridges that are falling down. Nobody can go anywhere.
And on Greenland,
On Greenland now?
Yeah, on Greenland.
How did we come up to Greenland?
So, do you expect to take an action against Greenland?
Well, I don't want to talk about Greenland. Let's talk about Venezuela, Russia, Ukraine. We'll worry about Greenland in about 2 months. Let's talk about Greenland in 20 days. By the way, I will say this about Greenland.
Why does he have to talk about fucking Greenland in 20 days? Like, what's going on exactly? That's a little interesting. What's up with fucking... What's going on in Greenland in 20 days? I think, like, the prime minister, the president of Greenland... Is it prime minister? I don't remember. The representative of Greenland literally was just like, yeah, dog, like... You guys aren't going to do any of your fucking fuck shit here. Like, we've seen the polling about this, by the way. 94% of Greenlanders voted that they don't want to fucking join the United States of America and are okay with the current fucking status quo. They're just like, yeah, we're totally chill with it right now. Like, we don't want to join the United States. It's some fucking bullshit.
We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you. You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added one more Dorpsland. It's true. They thought that was a great move.
They're a part of NATO, and you're a part of NATO, you fucking dumbass. If there was an invasion of the fucking country, of the territory of fucking Greenland, you would go in and fucking help defend them because you're allies with Denmark. Whatever. Nice meme.
Oh, I don't want to talk about Greenland now. I just say this. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And the European Union needs us to have it, and they know that. No, I don't think so. I have a very good relationship. We have the power of tariffs, and he has other powers on us.
Are you still planning to travel to see him in April?
Yeah, I'll be going in April.
I think there's some confusion from Americans, maybe the community in the world, when it comes to what you said about Rodriguez earlier today. You said that she would face the same fate, if not worse, than Maduro. But it sounds like you're talking to her on the phone and wanting to work with her, and you are considering her power. Can you just clarify where you stand on Delcy Rodriguez?
I don't have to tell you. I just say that she will face a situation probably worse than Maduro. Because, Maduro gave up immediately.
So she could also...
He raised his hand, he gave up. And he did the right thing, but he gave up. So we were so effective, and it was so fast and violent. It was very violent. But we were so effective, he raised his hands, he gave up.
What was the most violent moment?
I don't want to tell you. There's some bad moments, but there was a very violent moment. I don't want to tell you.
Did you get a briefing on all of Maduro's first night?
Yes. I have a total briefing on every aspect of it, but I don't think it's appropriate to talk to the press about it. You'll find out.
When it comes to him in court tomorrow, I mean, what's the end game here with Maduro?
We're just going to go through a slog of a trial. The judge is very respected. Judge Hellerstein is a highly respected judge. We'll see how we do. The case is infallible. People are so happy with what we've done. You go down to Miami, you go down to a lot of places, and they're all dancing in the streets of this country. Now, he was a rough man. Killed millions of people. He killed millions and millions of people.
Can I just say something? We got this is a good
thing. Talking about the trial of Nicolas Maduro, right? Like, based off of the dumbass trumped up charges that the DOJ fucking made up randomly. Like, okay, bro, nice meme.
Not a bad thing. President Biden put a $25 million bounty on the guy's head. Why? Because he was a horrible criminal, murderer, poisoning our people. Every administration has been saying he's a threat to our country. He's a bad guy. This is the first guy that's actually done something about it. Here's the story for me.
Sure,
he could be in Turkey today, but he's in New York. So if you tell people in Cuba, you need to stop being a communist dictatorship threatening America, you should go somewhere else. You better take the offer. Maduro has nobody to blame but himself. He gave him a way out. He chose to defy Trump and the U.S. military, and his ass is in jail where he deserves.
Well, that's just not true, by the way. There was articles saying that he was willing to negotiate and allow for fucking American investment. Because, again, this is something that Trump's been consistently doing. He'll do a bunch of, fake negotiations, not be actually serious about doing negotiations with world leaders, and then just go in with the strikes anyways, and then claim it's we tried to fucking negotiate with these guys, when in reality, the Trump administration is not negotiating in good faith whatsoever. Again, it's complete fucking bullshit from these dumbass motherfuckers. They're just all a bunch of bloodthirsty neocons who just want to invade and attack people. That's it.
To be, and every president has said the same thing, but he didn't.
One of the things that is happening, I think you see it all the time. Howard, you've seen it. That Cuba is ready to fall.
Yes.
Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know how they're going to hold out. But Cuba now has no income. They got all of their income from Venezuela.
I mean, you guys are the only ones that are fucking sanctioning them, and every fucking UN vote, every country on the planet has said, you guys should lift the fucking sanctions. The only three who don't want the sanctions on, or do want the sanctions to remain on Cuba, are Argentina, because Javier Milei is a bootlicker, and the Israelis, as well as the United States of America. Again, why are you still sanctioning the fucking Cubans? Or embargoing, rather, the Cubans? Meh. Because they can.
Venezuelan oil, they're not getting any of it. Cuba literally is ready to fall. And you have a lot of great Cuban Americans that are going to be very happy about this.
Marco Rubio has really had
I'm
your
sure.
throughout this entire process. I know that the Vice President Vance was just down the street when this whole operation was playing out, but would you say that Marco Rubio has your ear more than the Vice President?
No,
right
they
now?
both do. No, JD's very smart, doing a great job, and so is Mark. No, both.
It sounds
I
like
would say equal.
the go-to, and you were just talking about Cuba and what could come next there. Are you considering U.S. action in Cuba?
I think it's just going to fall. I don't think we did any action. It looks like it's going down. It's going down for the count. You ever watch it fight? They go down for the count. And Cuba looks like it's going down. What do you think, Howard?
It's going down. They've lived off of Venezuela, right? The economics were all Venezuelan, right? That's why you said the protective force of Maduro was Cuban, right? They were Cuban guards, so they were just paying Cuba when that money stopped.
Don't hire him in the future.
Yeah, they weren't very good.
People from our country who were forced to come over, they didn't want, they were from Cuba. People from different countries like to stay in those countries, whatever, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And people want to go back to Cuba, and they want to work in Cuba, but Cuba's going down for the count. Thank you very much, everybody.
I mean, this is a thing, by the way, that Cuba has consistently done. They'll just like deploy troops in order to protect their allies. Like, I mean, there was engagements between the Cuban military and South Africa during the 90s. Like, unironically, this is a thing that's happened before.
You had dinner with him last night.
Elon's great. I say about Elon, he's 80% super genius and 20% he makes mistakes. But he's a good guy. He's a well-meaning person.
Can I ask you about one more thing I've been wanting to ask you the last couple of days? You said that you were very angry.
A lot of questions.
I do.
Tell him who you were. Go ahead.
I'm with News Nation. My name's Libby. So you said that you were really very angry with Ukrainian President Zelensky if he was the one who conducted that strike on Putin's residence.
I don't believe that strike happened.
Right. So Putin had said in that phone call to you that that strike happened. You came out and said that, and you believed Putin. There wasn't criticism.
There is something that happened fairly nearby, but had nothing to do with this.
Why did you believe Putin in that moment and then go say that about
Because nobody knew at that moment. I mean, that was the first I heard about it.
So why not?
He said that his house was attacked. We don't believe that happened. Now that we've been able to check.
Yeah.
But that was the first we ever heard about it. We just hope that Russia and Ukraine get it settled.
Well, at least they didn't fall for the Russian state propaganda on that shit.
It's costing us nothing. In fact, we make money because unlike Biden gave $350 billion, gave it away. Now, I got a lot of it back because we did a rare earth deal going into rare earth. And we're going to get a lot of the money back, maybe all of the money, maybe more than all of the money. But we get paid now whenever we send anything, they pay. So this isn't an economic...
We're gonna profit off of Ukraine rebuilding itself. Very cool, folks.
This is a soul. This is a situation where on average 25,000 souls. 25,000 soldiers mostly, and some people from Kiev and different cities, but very small number by comparison. But 25,000 to 30,000 soldiers are being killed every single month. And they're not from America. They're from Russia and they're from Ukraine. And if I can get it stopped, I'd like to get it stopped. And I think we will. Thank you very much, everybody.
You talked about returning some control to American companies. Did that play at all into your decision to capture Maduro?
No. What really played is the fact that he sent millions of people into our country from prisons and from mental institutions and drug dealers. Every drug addict in that country, in his country, was sent into our country. Think of that. Every single drug addict from Maduro's country, which isn't really his country, and it's certainly not his country anymore. Every drug addict and every drug dealer has been sent into our country. Now we're getting them back, but it's a very laborious job to get them back. Very hard job. And of course, we're not getting a lot of good backup from certain judges, from certain radical left. But we're doing well in appeals because the people doing the appeals seems that the judges are much more sane. What these super radical left judges are doing to our country is incredible. But if you take a look,
constant
Maduro
copium
sent
huffing
hundreds
here.
of thousands and even millions of people from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions.
2019 Venezuelan coup attempt. I don't know, this is like the 50th time I've probably brought up this fucking shit. Again, the reason why a bunch of Venezuelans left was because of this. That's why. I don't know how many times this has to be said over and over and over and over again. But a bunch of Venezuelans left the fucking goddamn country because of the subsequent sanctions that you slapped on the Venezuelan economy during 2019 after your failed fucking coup attempt, which caused the economy to go into hyperinflation. And as a result, millions of people left. Crazy, I know.
Drug dealers, drug addicts, everybody. He said anybody with a problem, he could never be forgiven. And other countries have done the same, but nothing like Maduro's done.
You talked about ending American foreign intervention. What changed your mind in Venezuela? What kind of your interest?
The fact that he sent drugs into our country, we're stopping it rapidly with what we're doing with the sea, because they come in, a lot of it comes in by sea, but it's not coming. The drugs coming in, as I said before, by sea are down 97%. You should be saying, thank you very much, President Trump, great job. Now they can't get anybody to pilot this.
Bullshit, by the way. I don't know. I don't know how many times this will be said. They still have presented no evidence to suggest that those fucking drugs were primarily coming in through that avenue. Again, it's just bullshit.
You know, it's 97%. I'm trying to figure out who are the other 3%.
Did you say the operation was all?
The voters that voted for me, yeah. Let me just tell you, the voters that voted for me are thrilled. They said, this is what we voted for.
So let's just think about it.
He currently has low approval ratings on all this shit. Even amongst only amongst the Republicans, and it's generally older Republicans, are the only ones who are approving the actions of Donald Trump right now with the Venezuela. That is it. Those are the only constituents that he has on his fucking side. The core base of cultists that he always had. Young Republicans don't agree with this. Obviously, independents hate this shit. And obviously, every single Democrat's just wholeheartedly against this shit. He is negative in terms of approval rating with the actions that he's taking in Venezuela.
What is the right response when a country sends in tens of thousands of people to overwhelm your system? When a country is a narco-terrorist state that floods your country with cocaine that's aligned with Hezbollah? What's the right response? You blow up the boat before they get here. You take down the source of the problem. President Trump didn't wake up one day and say, hey, let's take Venezuela. He did what other people talk about, but didn't have the balls or the guts to do it. This is a good thing. This is not...
I don't know, man, how many times the same point has to be said over and over and over again. No, he just got up one day, said, I'm going to take Venezuela, and that's it. And then it happened.
Not interventionism. This is making America safer. We're going to be more prosperous because of the business deals. There are going to be Americans alive today because he shut down a narco-terrorist state called Venezuela. This is a good thing, not a bad thing.
And the oil companies...
Literally, it's just Iraq all over again.
They're going to go in and rebuild their system. They're going to spend billions of dollars. And they're going to take the oil out of the ground. And we're taking back what they stole. Remember, they stole our property. It was the greatest theft in the history of America. Nobody has ever stolen our property like they have. They took our oil away from us. They took the infrastructure away. And all that infrastructure is rotted and decayed. And the oil companies are going to go in and rebuild it. We're not going to spend very much money at all, if anything. But the oil companies are going to go, we're going to take our oil back. But we're going to also do things...
It's all our oil.
When you look at what he did, the drugs are terrible. But also terrible. He sent hundreds of thousands of people into our country that should not be here. And that means from prisons. That means Tren de Aragua, the gang, Tren de Aragua.
Tren de Aragua.
Maduro's country, he was very friendly with that gang. Well... they're having a hard time right now. You know, we had Tren de Aragua all over Washington, D.C., and they got the hell beat out of them. Washington, D.C.
Okay, Tren de Aragua is now all over fucking Washington, D.C.? Sure, man, totally. Yeah, they're just everywhere in the United States of America. Oh, they're always everywhere. Every Venezuelan, it's all Tren de Aragua. It's all Tren... They're Tren de Aragua, you're Tren de Aragua, I'm Tren de Aragua. Everyone is fucking TDA in the mind of this fucking schizophrenic fucking orange pedophile.
Is the safest city right now in the United States. Thank you very much.
If you had to sum up Operation Absolute Resolve, would you say that it was about oil or it was about regime change?
It's about peace on Earth.
How's it peace on Earth?
Peace on Earth.
Yeah, peace on Earth. Randomly kidnapping another fucking world leader. I don't need to listen to what this fucking schizophrenic has to say. I mean, it's extremely fucking obvious, right? The intention of this has always been about one thing and one thing only: enforcement of the fucking Monroe Doctrine, an antiquated fucking doctrine that this motherfucker believes in because, again, flailing, dying empire that just wants to do forceful economic coercion of its neighbors in order to, I don't know, build the America fucking caliphate. Yeah, it's like unironically, like, build the America fucking caliphate within the Western fucking hemisphere. That is the entirety of the point of all this stuff. It's complete fucking bullshit. The imperialism always has been the point because America is a dying, flailing fucking empire. That is literally it. And as a result of wanting to maintain some form of relevance that is now fleeting within the world stage, now what are they going to fucking do instead? Just basically take over all their neighbors and just do more extraction of resources for the express purpose of enriching a bunch of dumb fuck pedophile billionaires who are in cahoots with this orange fucking pedophile currently in power. Don't think there's really much else to say besides that.